We are continuing to follow the latest details in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Court is in a short break right now, and this is at least the second break that Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura has asked for today while under cross-examination.
That's right, and our panel is now back to discuss. And let's discuss something, this came out before the break, but Dave, maybe you can speak to what the defense is trying to do here. They are bringing out a message that shows Cassie Ventura was frustrated about not being able to spend time with Combs and his children. She said, "I've been at the edge of tears this whole week. I don't think that you sympathize with my feelings. I understand you feeling like you need to protect your children, but after a while, it's like, for what? They've never known you and Kim," meaning Porter, "to be together unless there's something that I just don't know about. They were babies when we started dating." What does this illustrate, the defense is hoping, for the jury?
The relationship is complicated. It was back and forth. She was in love with him, and this doesn't sound like, to the defense, that this is someone who's being held against her will and doing things she didn't want to do when she wants to get even closer to Diddy. In the midst of all of this, she wants to get closer to him and his family. And so I think that's part of it. But, you know, this is all putting things in context. The prosecution will come back and will say, yes, you could feel this way. At the same time, you could be the victim of force, fraud, and coercion. You can still be consensual, perhaps at some part at the beginning, and then revoke your consent later and say, no, no more. So this is just part of the context. They're going to have to keep going back and forth with these messages and see which version of the story the jury believes.
We should note Ventura is now back on the stand, and during the break, we understand that Combs, or actually during the previous break, we understand that Combs had shared something with the attorney that's handling the cross-examination, and as the questioning was going on, he was apparently writing on orange sticky notes and passing one after another to the attorney sitting beside him. It's fascinating to sort of get that color and hear the reaction within the room to Ventura's testimony. I wonder, Jem, we've been discussing the context of this relationship that Ventura had with rapper Kid Cudi when she was on a break from dating Combs. I'm not sure a lot of folks, at least personally, I wasn't familiar with that relationship, and further the details of this story that Combs apparently had told Cassie that he wanted to blow up Kid Cudi's car in front of his friends, or so that his friends could find out about it, and then not long after that, Kid Cudi's car actually blew up. That was a stunning part of testimony, even though it's not central to this case.
Yeah, you know, Kid Cudi is a reasonably popular rapper. He's not top level. The relationship was public, you know, or public enough for Diddy to find out about it. The car blowing up, I mean, I don't even remember what the speculation about that was at the time. I think there was some implication that Diddy could have been involved, and quite honestly, it would not be extremely out of character for something like that to happen. I feel like something that gets overlooked in a lot of these situations is they tend to think that people are just one thing, and clearly they're not. You know, all of us contain multitudes, as they say, but I've met Diddy on a few occasions, interviewed him, I think 3 times. One time it was a video interview. He had his sunglasses on. He was very direct, not warm at all, you know, just like very distant, only answering the questions. It was about his album, ironically called Love, funny enough, his most recent album. Before that, I was interviewing him about his late mentor, a man named Andre Harrell, who he, you know, who basically brought him up. They fell out. Andre fired him, and you know, but Diddy went on to say that was one of the best things that ever happened to him because he went on to get his own record deal. During that interview, he was enthusiastic, he was excited, he was laughing, he was fun, he was charming, and people can be both, especially people on that level. And if you do the wrong thing, it can go the opposite direction very quickly.
You'd see two sides, even in the course of your work. Richard, so far, what are you just making of how the defense has approached this?
Well, I think they're obviously creating these building blocks where they're really trying to basically very little. First of all, they want to make it about the individual relationship. They obviously want to make it about the complications there. The Kid Cudi thing, I think, is a really interesting one because I think from the prosecution standpoint, it's actually kind of they have to build a case for racketeering, which has to do with a pattern of conduct that doesn't just have to do with Jesse Ventura, but it has to do with numerous people and the influence over a variety of individuals that are going to further the enterprise of this. And so the Kid Cudi thing and the thing, I think, is maybe impliedly, but also is going to make sort of this mafiosa connection to the jurors to say, hey, does this conduct, even though it may not be proved that he had anything to do with the car blowing up, it does sound a little bit more like an organized crime thing, which is obviously where the racketeering charges came from. All of this, though, comes from the point to really, jurors want to fill in the blanks. They want to find out who are these people. And obviously, the defense is doing a good job of kind of creating this more nuanced picture of the relationship. But ultimately, they're going to have to grapple with, as they come up with, how does the rest of the testimony actually comport with the two different stories that these sides are saying about what this relationship is, whether it's an individual relationship and a dysfunctional one, or whether it really is this power dynamic where he is completely in control of this whole situation and is coercing her into these situations.
Everyone, please stand by. We are eagerly awaiting a new update from our reporters. You see those 3 dots that are flashing on the red bar there. That means that something is getting typed up. So we are awaiting an update from inside the courtroom, where obviously cameras are not allowed. Cassie Ventura's testimony has resumed in the courtroom. Obviously, we're covering every detail of this trial. We have more of our analysis after a quick break.